In the first part, I've talked briefly about interrupts, but there's so much to it, and I'm gonna do my best to explain you what I haven't told you in the first part. So first off, there are two kind of interrupts, maskable interrupts and non-maskable interrupts. Basically, you can enable or disable maskable interrupts. If you really don't want to be bothered by any kind of interrupts in your code, you can do so. However, some interrupts, non-maskable interrupts, you won't have any ways to disable them using code. So they will happen no matter what. So that's the first thing I want to tell you. There's also priorities. The most important ones are going to be serviced before the other ones. So you have interrupt modes. Basically, some modes will jump to a specific address during interrupt, or maybe look at in IVT, interrupt vector table, which is like an array of different addresses for ISR or interrupt handlers. Based on what is the interrupt, you might go to a very specific routine in memory or interrupt handler. So you can play with this using interrupt mode. So far we learned that we're gonna call an interrupt handler. It's like a function, well, I prefer to say a routine, obviously, but it has to be quite small because you don't want your interrupts to spend so much time that it doesn't let your main code program to execute instructions. So you want to do something as quick as possible to return back to your main code. I want to be very specific here that your screen, for instance, can send Vblank interrupts. In case you wonder, you heard Vblanks, well, it's an interrupt. Okay, it means that it has drawn all the skyline. It's done. You can access the video memory to write the next frame for your screen. All right. The other thing is that there are timers, which are small device that gonna send a signal a very steady frequency. For instance, every maybe 400 times per second or something like that, to the CPU to do small interrupts, and this can be used as like a delta time or a way to update your game, to do some animation, update sprites, stuff like that. So obviously there are interrupts that are super nice to use when you are making games.